I don't know that I truly myself really appreciated what we have until the talk of the 100-year anniversary came around. Do you find that maybe to be the case for a lot of people here in this area? Maybe the younger population of Evansville maybe not quite realizing what we have there?
Perhaps, when you think about it, you hear the term millennials all the time, and, do they have an appreciation? Does that generation have an appreciation for this kind of, nostalgic look at sports in a particular location, in a particular town, in the Midwest? Yeah, maybe it does. Maybe it will. Maybe that, that this next generation up will appreciate what they have and realize that to play in such a facility that has such a history, lends itself to maybe adding more history to that. There might be another Andy Bennis or Don Mattingly or Bob Greasy playing out there today that we haven't seen, what heights that kid can rise to. And that's the exciting part of it continuing to go on. I mean, Don Mattingly has a grandson that's going to play there this year or not a grandson, a nephew that is the grandson of Jerry Mattingly, his late brother, who was killed back in the early 70s in a construction accident. And what some people may not know is the address 23 Don Mattingly Way. The reason Don Mattingly wore number 23 is to honor his brother Jerry, who wore that number for the Aces in basketball. So that's why he wore number 23, and that's why the address is what it is. It's in honor of Jerry Mattingly, his late brother.
See, and I think, too, when you talk about the people, like you say, you use the term millennials, which is that 18 to 24-year-old portion of the population. You look at Bosse Field, and everything these days, everything is the internet, and everything's in HD, and we've got small telephones, or we've got small computers in our pocket, and computers we can carry around that don't have to plug into a hard drive. You take the monitor with you and you touch it and it does things. And Bosse Field is so far removed from that kind of stuff. I mean, even compared to, you look at the Ford Center and it's got the upgrade it is from what Robert Stadium would be. You've got the Jumbotrons and it's got the banner that goes around, the video banner that goes around the entire thing. That's just with the world we live in. And for Bosse Field for whoever's been in charge of it, whether it's the Friends of Bosse Field or whatever, to not, I guess, succumb to any kind of a pressure to
they dropped the video
it.
board in this
the video
year,
board,
but you have to put those
and as I mentioned,
things in.
The video board, I think, was sorely needed for Bosse Field. Yeah. I think that was I haven't had a chance to get out there and actually see it yet. How does that look, by the way? Have you been out there?
It's a good addition. I think it's like Jimmy said, you need to have certain nods to the present, but you don't have to ruin the historical integrity of the place by doing so. I mean, it's out there in the outfield. You can see it from the stands, but the stands are unchanged. The facade's unchanged. The roof, the look, the metal post. If you sit in the wrong seat, you might not be able to see home plate, but you're just going to have to lean one direction or the other. But that's part of the place. It's part of the ambiance of being at Bosse Field.
We've brought up big names: Don Mattingly, Bob Greasy, Andy Bennis. A lot of big players have played at Bosse Field, football and baseball for that matter. But I can't let the interview go away without bringing up maybe the biggest name at Bosse Field. And I know you're going to chuckle because we all do. Marvin Gray.
Love Marvin, and you're right, Jimmy. You cannot talk about Bosse Field, sports in Evansville, Roberts Stadium. Marvin was the Otters' 2 millionth fan. The Otters had a bobblehead night to honor him. He's the flag chairman of Evansville. He still owns championship banners from the 1972 triplets and 1979 triplets. He has those things in his room at Pine Haven. It's not nursing home, rehabilitation
facility,
whatever the given name of it is. If I misspeak, forgive me, at Pine Haven. But Marvin's out there, and last week when I was there, he was there as well. He was sitting up in his he's in a wheelchair most of the time now, but he can still get up. He can still get around. He's sure not going to climb up on that scoreboard
to
or
fall off again,
run the flag out. Because he has fallen off that. And,
yes, he has.
and there's a story in Mike Shannon's book, Tales from the Dugout, about Marvin. When he used to take care of the place, he would lock up the press box, and the press boxes used to be on the roof, and he locked some guys from the Denver Bears up on the roof, and they missed their flight, and they eventually flagged down some passing police officers who managed to find somebody to get them off the roof, but they didn't get out until the next day, and that was because Marvin locked them up there. So that's a Marvin story for you.
He just. I had to bring the name up. I mean, it's anybody that's been to any sport. Again, I went to Bosse. We played our basketball home games in the 80s when they were very, very good. But we played them out at Roberts Stadium. And Marvin was out there for Aces games. Any game at Roberts Stadium, sweeping that floor with that duster. Every time out, up and down the floor. And loved it. He just
22 passes.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yep.
He just – and – he did. Marvin was just awesome, and still, I'm hoping this year again. I know his health is not the best, but I hope this year we see him at a sectional game or a regional high school football game. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he shows up and he just loves it. He just you can't help but like a guy that has that much passion for sports. It's just a great thing, and I just couldn't let the whole Bosse Field talk go away without bringing up Marvin.
And there is a sidebar about Marvin Gray in the book. I'm not sure what page it is. It's toward the back, but he's in there too.
Steve Ford, our guest, author of Bosse Field, the third oldest ballpark in the U.S., turns 100. Also, Steve used to, back in the day, and for some time, now retired from the Evansville Courier and Press. Still twice a month, you said? There's usually an outdoors.
Every other week, outdoors. I still do outdoors, still enjoy outdoors, and have fun doing it. I've always had a good response from that, so that's why I've continued to do so.
One more for you, and then we'll let you go. And again, we appreciate you sticking around for an extra segment here. As much as you knew about this facility going into it, because as you said, you've spent a good portion of your life there as a player and covering teams and things that have taken place in that facility. And I'm sure there were several things you learned along the way you didn't know ahead of time, just in the research part of it. One of the things that stands out to you of something you didn't know until you wrote this book.
The one that the one that stands out the most, I'm pretty sure, is a fellow that played with Hank Greenberg. I had never heard his name. He went to Bosse High School and played with the Hubs when Greenberg played. His name was Pete Fox. He went on to the major leagues, played with Detroit and Boston, I think. Had a 14-year career, had a career 300 batting average. Just had an outstanding major league career, and he went to Bosse High School and played a year at Bosse Field, and I had no idea who the man was.
Well, before we let you get out of here, we appreciate you taking the time with us, obviously. We're going to be out at Bosse Field next Wednesday doing our show live from there. We would love to have you, Dave Johnson. I know there's rumor Jimmy Leland, Bob Greasy are going to be there. Mattingly, obviously, he's got some stuff going on right now.
He's a little busy.
But we'd love to have you guys join us. And before we let you go, this book, Bosse Field, the third oldest ballpark in the U.S., turns 100. It is available now. How do you get it? And I know you have some book signings coming up, so let us know where those are.
Plug away.
Okay. Well, I already did that shamelessly once.
But, you can do it again. That was 20 minutes ago.
That's right.
They're at Bosse Field. The Otters sell them, and they're selling them for $40, so that's no sales tax. You can get them at Barnes & Noble, $39.95 retail, so whatever the sales tax is on that. I will be having this Saturday a book signing at Barnes & Noble at 2 p.m. The following day, Sunday, I'll be at the Evansville Museum at 2 p.m., and tomorrow and on the 100th anniversary game, the next two Wednesdays, I will be at Bosse Field at the Otters game. Signing books for anybody who wants them or wants a signature. Not everybody, I assume, will want my signature in their book, but that's okay if you don't. Real quick story, this one. First time I'm out there signing books. My wife and son are out there with me, and so I'm sitting on the table. I'm out there by myself. I'm about 20 feet away from the facade right outside the main entrance. And I'm sitting there, and I've got my elbows on the table, and I feel this really hard thunk right between the shoulder blades. And I'm thinking, my son, Zach, I thought, well, why is he hitting me? And then I turn around and see a ball rolling away from me. And I just realized I've been hit right between the shoulder blades with a foul ball. It had to hit the roof first and then bounce, and it almost come off in an almost straight up and down impossible angle to hit me, but it hit me right between the shoulder blades. And I thought, I wasn't sure if I had done the right thing, but when I got hit by that ball, signing books, I thought, well, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So,
well, it could have hit you in the head, and he wouldn't have felt it at all.
Exactly. I mean, it's something you can relate to, Jimmy. So I understand that. But
comes with the last name, I guess.
Yes, it does.
Well, it's been a real pleasure. We appreciate you stopping by, Steve. Again, the book Bosse Field, the third oldest ballpark in the U.S., turns 100. Steve Ford is the author, and we appreciate the time. Thank you for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. And I'm still getting used to the term author, but I appreciate you referring to me that way. It was a pleasure.
It's a great book, and just even if the pictures alone make it totally worth it. Just some of the old pictures you were able to dig up from the Willard Library archives, and I know Dave Johnson had some in his possession. He was able to give up. It's a fascinating read if you truly appreciate history. And you know what we've got over there in Garvin Park. It's certainly worth a pickup. Steve Ford, our guest. We'll be back in a minute. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3, and online, ESPNEvansville.com.